The Opinion with Michael J. I'm going to start with my favorite lately. It's going to be Wyatt Claypool. And then it's going to be Steve Boots. Everybody's on my radar these days. Wyatt Claypool first, Steve Boots. Now, Wyatt here. Liberals lied about elbows up tariffs. Carney silently removed mid-election. And he also brings up the budget. And Steve Boots brings up the budget and the tariffs as well. So we're going to address this from a different perspective, shed a different light on a topic that's getting beaten up. What is it? May the 19th, new government was elected on the 28th. New cabinet was just sworn in, what, a week ago? 24 new members in the cabinet. They said it's the same as Trudeau's, but 24 new members. So there you go. Whatever. When a woman says whatever, you put up a red flag. There's serious issues there. So, Wyatt, Mr. Claypool, take it away, sir.
Hey guys, Wyatt Claypool here. I can already feel that the two major themes of Mark Carney and the Liberals' new government is going to be massive Liberal voter regret and breaking of promises. And those two are very...
Holy crap. You got a crystal ball? Did you go see a psychic and find out all this is going to happen? Holy crap, I didn't even know that. That's amazing. Or is this the Kardashians 3.9?
very closely tied together. My goodness, I actually assumed Carney was going to be like a bit of a faux moderate, pretending to be moderate in his rhetoric and the surface level idea.
I had no idea. He is just what he is. And I see him for what he is, just like I see you for what you are.
Ideas of his policies, but then under the surface is going to be actually quite radical with the things he does through the bureaucracy. No, he's just blatantly Justin Trudeau 2.0.
Oh, Justin 2.0. How about Justin 2.5? Let's have a little bit of humor. Damn, already. Guy's barely out of the gate and he's already Trudeau 2.0.
He ran on having a very different type of government philosophy than Justin Trudeau. He even said on the debate stage to Pierre Poilievre, Mr. Poilievre, I'm not Justin Trudeau. And then he just gets rid of all the people he put in his mini cabinet before the election and then just puts all the Trudeau people back in afterward.
Didn't I just say? Well, first of all, I don't think Pierre Poilievre is blind. When he looked at Carney at the other podium, I think he recognized that that wasn't Trudeau that was there. Just saying, folks. And where else are you going with this other nonsense? I'm not even going there.
Can't even make up how blatant it is. It's so stupid. He didn't even like wait 6 months and then do a bit of a cabinet shuffle, then bring back the old people.
Oh. So 24 new cabinet members, but, you know, everything's the same old, same old, same old. Gotcha, buddy. You been drinking? I've been accused of being drinking, making these videos. I don't drink.
It was...
I drink the wine of the gods. And what's that?
In the cabinet.
Fresh air.
You put that lady as like House Leader I'd never heard of before and a few other kind of like out-of-the-box choices. And then just immediately threw all those people under the bus after the election and brought people like Sean Fraser in.
How far are you going with this, friggin' Clayton? Is this going to go on forever?
Just a bait and switch on Liberal voters who, again, actually genuinely assumed that this was going to be different. I already showed you the other day Andrew Coyne and others thinking like, oh my goodness, we've been had. I'm like, yeah, you've been had, not us. Goodness, we were telling you there wasn't going to be any different. And we've had other things like he's a shrewd fiscal manager who's going to put Canada on a more steady path than Trudeau. And unlike Trudeau, he can't even put a budget together. Yeah, like Justin Trudeau's budget sucked, but he had a budget. Carney's like, that's difficult.
What is this thing with conservatives? Everything sucks. Everything's broken. Everything sucks, everything's broken. Meanwhile, we've had multiple different types of governments in the past, conservative and liberal, in the past. So, did they not all contribute to where we are now? Did we just get here now because of one government? No. Absolutely not. So, let's cut out the bullshit from the past. Everybody's got to take responsibility for that. Let's just deal with the present and look forward from here, which is the most prudent way to approach things. Simple as that, folks.
Math and stuff. And I don't like numbers. You know, I like economics, I like math, but I don't like numbers. So if you start putting numbers in front of me, I don't want to see them. But he just wants to be able to write himself like OIC, like Order in Council, checks to his various departments, which is probably a way of him nickel and diming the government into even higher spending.
Okay, nice story, Clayton. Let's move on to something else here. Okay, he's just going over the same. No, okay, so here, it's about the tariffs, okay? We're fighting tariffs. You know, they claim the tariffs are all been rolled back. Right. Whatever you say, buddy. So let's go to, right here. Now this is where when CBC talks my way, CBC good. When CBC does not talk my way, CBC defund, no good.
In the future, like, no, it's completely inappropriate, and the Conservatives are right, and the other opposition
they're talking about a budget. Sorry,
parties should probably gang on and complaining that the government is railroading and acting in completely unacceptable ways, and this is not a standard that you want to set, because the next government will do exactly the same thing.
I like how even that, because she's a liberal, at the very end there, she has to basically include the fact that, well, it's bad because another government might take this precedent and not pass budgets. Like, I'm pretty sure that the bad part is the fact that they're just not...
Right, the bad part. What's the bad part? Clayton, we may come back to you. Not sure. Now we're going to go to Steve Boots. Okay, number one is, Clayton put this out 16 hours ago. Almost 20,000 views. 68.4K subscribers. So got a broad audience. Steve Boots put this out 3 hours ago. Already had about 1,700 views. Take it away, Mr.
This week,
Boots.
newly elected
Mr.
Canadian
Smith,
Prime
take
Minister
it
Mark
away.
Carney, pictured here pointing at his federal budget, or lack thereof, had a bit of a rough week. He made a series of missteps that have hurt him politically and created a bunch of headaches for the Liberals. Honestly, it was a bunch of own goals that are really hard to make sense of, and there's a few that I want to talk about. For starters, the budget, or lack thereof. You see, Mark Carney made a very interesting decision to not publish a budget, and this is pretty bizarre. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne has said that there will be no budget published this year, and instead he just pointed to the priorities that were outlined during the campaign and said that there would be a fall economic statement sometime in the fall. Any excuse that they're giving here, though, really has to do with uncertainty. That it's very difficult to plan for the sort of economic uncertainty that we're facing. But that doesn't really hold a lot of water here. Think about yourself and your personal situation. You're likely also looking at a bunch of economic uncertainty. Jobs can be disrupted, tariffs have changed living expenses, and yet you likely still have a household budget. You're likely going to have some sort of a spending plan for how you're going to manage your finances.
Why does everybody equate a federal budget, a government budget, to a home budget? It's like comparing an apple to a grape. They're not comparable. They are not comparable. Like, get it out of your brains. I know you're a good guy, Steve. You mean well. So let's move on further into this video. 311. 311 on our dial here. What do we got here at 311?
Budget. Stephen Harper was elected in May of 2011 and tabled the budget in June. It's not...
Oh, what was that again?
Budget. Stephen Harper was elected in May of 2011 and tabled the budget in June. It's not...
Okay, but here's what you're forgetting, Mr. Smith. I like Steve Boots. He does some really good stuff, but he's categorically wrong here. He's making comparing another apple to another grape. So what do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing. I want you to hear this again, so it's fresh in your brains.
To make a budget, Stephen Harper was elected in May of 2011 and tabled the budget in June. It's not
May of 2011, tabled the budget in June. Well, here's the thing, Steve. Initially, that government of Stephen Harper started its term first in 2006. So they had budgets running, so they had a handle on budgets. So it's easy to just update them because they were in power since 2006. But what you really should be pointing out to people is in 2006, it took them over 4 months to get their first budget out. So let's make sure people are clear on that. And that's a misnomer. May 2011 came out in June. Yeah, but you forget. They started their tenure, Tenure, that's tenure, back in 2006, and the first budget took 4 months. Okay? Okay? Everybody understand that? Let's go to the tariffs. 349 on the dial here, I think. There we go.
Everything from the United States. Mark Carney announced a 6-month pause on all tariffs on products used in Canadian manufacturing, processing, food and beverage packaging, as well as items related to healthcare, public safety, and national security, as well as some breaks for automakers. It means that the tariff regime has gotten a hell of a lot more confusing because there are still tariffs on some things like orange juice, alcohol, coffee, clothing, and cosmetics. So elbows up, except when elbows are down. Elbows up sometimes. It's a hokey-pokey situation. Honestly, this whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense. What do we actually gain from suspending these tariffs? What leverage did we exercise?
Yeah, I know it's beyond your capacity to understand, monsieur, and most people's capacity to understand, monsieur. All we're doing is selective tariffs to have the best impact to push back, because the U.S. has a problem. The tariffs are hitting them hard, and we want to mitigate the effect here in Canada. It's really very simple that way. Mitigate the effect of the tariffs that we apply against the Americans so it has a minimal effect on Canadians. That's not hard to figure out because our real challenge right now is let's get the interprovincial barriers down. And we got problems with Danielle Smith in Alberta, Scott Moe, Saskatchewan. You know, they are just being a little bit difficult. They're not into this unity thing. They think maybe a 51st state might be better. I don't know. You might end up in El Salvador. Just saying, folks. But that's the deal. So let's backtrack here, okay? So I'm going to put a link here so you can get a full list of all the tariffs. Complete list of U.S. products subject to counter tariffs by Canada against the U.S. Effective April 9, March 13th, March 4th. Okay, I'll put a link in the description. That way everybody can check it for yourselves. Let's not get our knickers into a friggin' twist. Just because you just need drama in your life? Enough drama already. Who needs drama? Now we got this other guy, MCGA. 61.7 thousand subscribers. This has 79,000 views in 2 days. Unquestionable proof the Liberals stole the election. Can you believe it?
Good evening, Patriots and Liberals. This is Spencer with the MCGA channel.
Good evening, Patriots and Liberals. This is Spencer. Yikes.
On YouTube. Breaking news, the Liberals just stole another seat. Just like they did in Terrebonne, just like they're about to do in Windsor, they stole a seat by rearranging votes and manifesting votes out of nowhere.
Yeah, okay. There's a simple solution to this, Spencer. Next time there's an election, volunteer, because they need volunteers. And then you'll find out how things are done with Elections Canada at the various polling stations. Okay? because you don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying. Now, why do I say that? Okay, here's Spencer's channel. So here it is, the worst liberal scandal, which comes on automatically. Just seen the start of it. It's all about election fraud. Like, this is an American thing. Trumpism's come north, so maple syrup MAGA north. MCGA, but now he's got at Make Great Canadian Media. MCG, Make Canada Great Again? I guess he figured he better change that and change it to something else. Just saying, folks. Now here we have Spencer again. 3 weeks ago, I caught election workers taking votes home. Guess what? Friggin' boxes were empty and there were friggin' supplies like pens and stuff like that. But he followed people around.
Just in their car, willy-nilly. Where are they going?
Okay, so to give you a little bit of insight, these people have boxes, election boxes, ballot boxes. Well, I don't know if they're ballot boxes, but anyways, they're banker boxes. They left the election office, they went home, and Spencer followed them home. The plot thickens. Just be patient, folks.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Are you bringing a ballot box home? Yeah. With votes in it? It's an empty ballot box? It's an empty ballot box?
Yeah, this is for Monday.
So you do it ahead of time, then you guys take them home?
The boxes are in.
With?
You're supposed to pick up your stuff today and tomorrow, and then set up on Monday.
So even at the early voting places, they send the boxes home with folks?
I'm not sure about the early voting. I didn't work that.
No, eh? So they send everybody home with a box?
For the early ones?
For what? You got a box.
Yeah. It's empty.
There's no plain empty votes in it?
No, there's empty.
Why would they send you home with it?
Because you have to bring it Monday morning.
Back to the building that you took it from?
No, to your polling place, wherever you're voting.
So the polling place, let's say in Dundas, does that change on Monday?
Bring it there, yeah, and then at the end of the night, you count the ballots, and then the supervisor takes it to the head office.
Interesting. Find it strange that why would they not just leave them in the building?
Good question. It would be a lot easier.
Because you took that from Upper James, right?
Yeah. That's where the headquarters is.
Is that not a voting place on Monday? Can you vote at Upper James on Monday?
I don't know if you can or not.
So, let's say you can. Are you returning that back to Upper James?
I won't be. The supervisor will.
They come to your home and collect that box?
No. From the polling station.
So where does this go?
Wherever you vote, wherever the zone is. Like Thomas More has a poll. St. Andrew's Church has a poll. And there's a couple others too around here.
Don't you find that a bit odd?
That's the way it is. That's the way it's always been done. I worked the last election too. It was the same thing.
So that's not full of votes?
No.
Thank God.
No, it's empty. I'll show you.
Being the good patriot Spencer is, he's going to leave his vehicle and he's going to check this box to verify there's no votes in it. Let's see what happens. Hold on to your seats, folks.
List of other stuff supplies you need, that's all.
What's in the yellow?
That's all your supplies.
Are there empty ballots in there?
Nope. No, it's all empty stuff you have to write down, right? It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork.
Okay. Well, I appreciate
You
you.
should work it.
I appreciate your time.
It isn't worth the money, though. Trust me.
Well, thank you for your volunteering to the country.
I mean, you know, if we don't vote, we're screwed, right?
It's the only exercise that we got left to express our views for the country, right?
You know, it doesn't matter who you vote for as long as you vote. I mean, everybody has their own view, right? Their own opinion, but I'd like to have a choice.
I couldn't agree more. Well, I'm sorry to bother you.
No bother.
Stalking a guy. But at least he apologized for stalking him and bothering him. All he's doing is a good deed for the country. And as I said before, Spencer, just volunteer to do the elections. You'll find out what goes on. Trust me. It's a very simple process. So anyway, let's go back because we were talking tariffs, complete list of tariffs. I'm going to leave you a copy in the description, in the sources. Make Canada great again. Make America great again. Maple syrup north. Make Canada great again. Yikes. Trumpism. Fascism is going crazy around the world. Find out that the invisible box case was solved. There was no ballots in it. Okay, what do we have here? Now, this is global news. 21 hours ago, 6,184 views, 172 comments. What have federal budget delays meant in the past? Dun, 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 dun.
The country is still recovering from the election hangover that many of us are feeling, from delayed results to waiting for the Conservative leaders by-election. It's been a wild ride. But the new Prime Minister is clipping along at a rapid pace, and a new session of Parliament is...
Now here's the thing. Look at this. Inside the Cabinet Assembly. You've never seen this in Canadian politics because nobody shows it to you. You only see the stuff on the House of Commons floors. Now you witness reporters inside where the Cabinet sits and they discuss matters.
Is about to start. MPs are back in the House next week, and King Charles will open Parliament with a speech from the throne.
Full disclosure.
Joining us now are David Akin, our chief political correspondent, and Shannon Proudfoot, Ottawa feature writer at the Globe and Mail. Welcome to our long weekend politics panel.
It is a long weekend, goodness.
Yeah. And it's been a long week as well.
It's been a long 7 weeks. We were both, actually, last time Shannon and I ran into each other, we were on a campaign tour. So you traveled, I traveled. Glad to put my feet up.
Everyone needs a nap.
I think everyone's ready for it, but we got to power through a few more weeks here. And it's been interesting because we're saying, that there's this sort of election hangover in the country. We've just gone through this, but at the same time, Mark Carney's government trying to move at a rapid clip, trying to get things accomplished. Their first week, we learned about the cabinet. Kind of similar to the old cabinet in terms of the high-profile posts, although lots of new faces. Mark Carney promising to knock down the income tax for the middle class by signing off this very dramatic-looking document in a red folder, similar to what he did with the carbon tax, and also finding out there's not going to be a budget. So, David, how do you think the first week has gone?
Let me just talk about that visuals of that budget document, right? One of the things Carney campaigned on was change. One of the things the people around Carney and Carney himself recognizes we have to look different than the Trudeau guys. I've been here on Parliament Hill since 2005, and we've been inside that cabinet room 2 or 3 times since Carney's. I've never been inside the cabinet room. Like, it just was not a place.
So you get to go in there now.
Yeah, we've been invited in to watch this whole thing. So there's a visual there that whatever the content is, and people can criticize it for looking maybe too Republican or something, but it's, I think, an important way that the Carney administration is trying to say, we're doing things and it's going to look a bit different. So I just sort of make that sort of, comment about that. On the budget thing, I'd just like to see more explanation why it's impossible to present the plan that you just ran around the country saying you had. You had a plan, sir. I'm the guy with the plan.
Yeah, but as I pointed out in the Steve Boots video just beforehand, he brought up that Stephen Harper in 2011 pulled out a budget within a couple weeks. But meanwhile, Stephen Harper had successive governments. He was originally elected in 2006, and when he first got elected, it took over 4 months to put a budget together. So come on, let's be pragmatic.
Candidate Carney said, and now PM Carney doesn't want to present that plan. Speech from the throne is a bit of a blueprint, but the budget is an actual plan.
Yeah, and the speech from the throne doesn't contain things like exact numbers or benchmarks that we look for in a budget that tells us how they're going to do things, how much it's going to cost, when they're going to do it, over how many years. Were you surprised, Shannon, to hear that there would be no budget this year?
I was really surprised. I mean, especially since he's economist guy. And his famous saying, that he borrowed.
But guys, I'm going to give you some conservative lingo. There is a canary in the coal mine. You say, what? There is a canary in the coal mine. When are you going to disclose it? I will when the time is right.
Word from Tim Geithner during the economic crisis is plan beats no plan. Budget's a pretty good plan. And they're not, there hasn't even really been a clear explanation for why they're not. You had Francois.
Okay, everybody's got it there. Everybody's friggin' dropping stink bombs because of the budget. Holy crap. I want to point something out to you. I'm going to cover the budget. I'm going to come back to the budget in a minute or two, very shortly, but I want to show you the canary in the coal mine. Let's go up to 611 on the dial. 611 on the dial. Okay, here you go. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. The canary in the coal mine moment is about to drop on your lap. In your lap? On your lap? I don't know. Take it for what it is.
What an exercise in transparency. Like a throne speech is a manifesto. It's a message of what you want to do or why. It has nothing to do with how you're going to do it and how you're going to, balance the sides of the ledger, which you're going to give up in exchange for something else you've prioritized. So
and we can go back to that campaign. Again, you're absolutely right that you mentioned timelines around budgets. And we got surprised during the election campaign when the conservatives...
Whoa, what did he say? We got surprised during the election campaign? What did we get surprised by?
We can go back to that campaign. Again, you're absolutely right that you mentioned timelines around budgets. And we got surprised during the election campaign when the Conservatives presented their platform and this middle-income tax cut that Poilievre was harping on wasn't going to happen until really the last year of a mandate. So it's like, well, come on, that's not real. Now, the Carney...
There you go. So here's the thing. There was 2 tax cuts proposed. Both were in the 15% bracket. But the Pierre Poilievre one was 2.5%, and the Liberal one under Carney was 1%. But here's what Pierre Poilievre never told you, because he held back on his costing platform. He was the last one to put it out, just the day before the election or thereabouts. And guess what? His tax cut was back-end loaded to year 4. Can you imagine that? Back-end loaded to year 4. Unbelievable.
Has presented their platform, and this middle-income tax cut that Poilievre was harping on wasn't going to happen until really the last year of a mandate. So it's like, well, come on, that's not real. Now, the Carney guys did the same thing when they presented their platform. They did have some money over, this year or this year. There weren't.
So meanwhile, the Conservatives, like Wyatt Claypool, says the measly $33 a week you're going to save under the Carney tax cut. Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre said he's going to double down But meanwhile, he didn't double down because the tax cut didn't come into year 4 of his term, providing he had a majority mandate to last 4 years without disruption. So, who's being disingenuous? Looks like it's the Conservative Party of Canada under Pierre Poilievre. Maple syrup, mega north, Pierre Poilievre. Just saying, folks. So that's where I'm coming from. If you're going to call it as you see it. Okay, so now here we have global news 21 hours ago. 39.927 views. So approximately 40K, 40,000 for all intents and purposes. Global news.
I will leave Rome tomorrow morning more convinced than ever that Canada has what the world wants, and we seek to follow the values that the world respects. So there's a tremendous opportunity for Canada to help lead a world that is being reshaped to the advantage of Canadians and, in the spirit of today's proceedings, to the advantage of all in the world. So that's why it's important to have these intensive discussions that we are having with allies, G7 allies, European allies, the Americans, the Australians, and others, so that we're specifying how to get things done, how to accomplish greater security for Canadians. But it goes back to a question that was asked earlier, which is, why don't you have a budget tomorrow? Well, the reason you don't have a budget tomorrow is one of the reasons is you're having those discussions. We are having those discussions and determining what's necessary, how we're going to get there, what the fiscal implications are. All that points to a fall budget. Thank you. I will leave Rome tomorrow morning.
So there you go. A fall budget. Now you know when the budget's going to be. It's going to be in the fall. It's going to be approximately 4 months from now. Can you imagine that? 4 months from now. 2006, first time Stephen Harper and Pierre Poilievre got into power. Took them a minimum 4 months to put a budget together. So don't be surprised by 4 months. Now you got a reasonable explanation. Mark Carney reporting from Rome after meeting with the new Pope, plus all sorts of world leaders to discuss various things, which works out twofold. Pope, and the ironic thing is it's an American Pope, so this is going to create an interesting dichotomy with fascism under the Donald J. Trump tenor and what he's doing down there. So this is going to be interesting. The Vatican's really done a good move here. First time I've said the Vatican's done a good move. Done a good move? That's not good. Done well. There. How's that, grammar teachers? So there you go. This is where we're at. It's gone a little bit longer than I wanted to go with this video, but now you know. Now you know what's going on. So sending love and peace to everybody. Take care. Talk to you all soon. Ciao for now.